If one looks, on the other hand, at income data, and there are lots of different ways of getting income data. The U.S. is not problematic from that point of view. But one way I particularly like to do it is to collect data from the local area income statistics which are available on a county-by-county basis, and to calculate and measure inequality across the counties. Now, you're obviously not picking up what's going on inside counties, or some counties are very large, but it does give you a really good sense of where the increases in inequality are taking place, and proportionately how big they are. And this just tracks two series. One of them is a monthly measure of the log of the NASDAQ, and the other one is this inequality measure just described. And you can see, and the algorithms tell you, that they track each other very closely in proportional terms, and they have exactly the same peaks and troughs, particularly in the latter years of the series. And obviously, the big peak is the peak of the NASDAQ in 2000. There is also this bump here, which is in the middle 1980s, and you find a lot of income reporting anomalies in this particular period. For those of you who know Piketty and Saiz's work, you'll see a similar bump there. I attribute this to the Tax Reform Act, which did two things: got people reporting capital gains incomes because they got the break was going away, and also eliminated numerous deductions and exemptions that were affecting the high income, causing them to report more AGI and taxing them a little bit. So that adjustment is going to screw up the inequality measures, but doesn't seem to me to be reflecting anything real in the economy. An interesting feature of this particular approach is that you can then ask, well, just looking at that particular peak that's associated with the internet bubble, how much of it is clearly traceable to the particular places where we knew the information technology going to be taking place. And the way to do that is just to take out one example or two and replace the actual data for that particular county or counties with what their income would have been if it had grown at the average rate from some standpoint. So if you do that, just take Manhattan out of the case. If in the 1990s Manhattan's income had grown not at its actual rate, but at the average rate for the country, what would have been the overall between county inequality measure? The answer is it probably would have been 20% less than it actually was. If you take out Manhattan plus 4 other places, the overall rise in inequality drops by half. And the 4 other places are Santa Clara, San Mateo, San Francisco County, and King County, Washington. Plus Manhattan. I mean, it's 5 places out of 3,150 counties account for half of the increase in measured between county inequality in the entire country in this period. And if you take out another 10, say take out 15, you don't really get the bottom line, which is to say, without the counties that we clearly know to have been largely tech-based counties, there's no increase in inequality. These incomes were booked in a very narrow, small set of jurisdictions. I think that by itself tells you something really that should cause reflection when people suggest that there is a large-scale phenomenon either of the effect of technological change on users in the wage structure, or the effect of, let's say, globalization, trade, and so forth, rising inequality associated with goods produced by low-paid workers that are imported to the United States. What's really going on here is that portion of income, which is associated with the supply of technology goods plus financial services to the larger economy, and that is very, very concentrated in places. We can take this up to nearly the present. Present recedes, or data recedes pretty quickly in time. Anyway, this gets up to 2009. Same series. And you can see that after this long period of rising inequality. You basically have a peak of 2000, and then for the last 10 years, there isn't, in fact, a continuing increase in this data. It's just kind of a sawtooth pattern. There's a decline with the internet information technology bust, and then a rise again in the later part, the mid part of the 2000s, associated with a lot of other things that are actually going on. And a nice feature of this particular approach is that you can pick out exactly what it is, because you can look at where the incomes are being booked. And in the early part of the 2000, 2003, 2004, where do you think people are getting rich?
Financial.
No. No, this is that post-information technology.
Financial area.
It's not the financial area. No, 2003, 2004 is not particularly big financial area. What?
Oh, Arizona, Florida.
No. You got to put yourself in the mind, what part of the country is most likely to get enriched by the most reactionary Republican administration of our lives?
Real estate defense.
The answer is Washington, D.C., the federal government, of course. That's what Republican administrations do. The counties immediately around them show up, you know, they light up red on a map of rising income inequality. Never in the history of the country did a group of Democrats benefit so much from an administration that they approved of so little. And then one can go, I mean, the United States is wonderful because of the geographic richness of the data set. You can see what was going on in 2007. There are all kinds of rise of income being booked here. This is Southern California, through Florida. The East Coast always shows up as a major center of things, but the financial sector there shows up very well. But what's interesting and distinctive about this is that the places which are the epicenters of speculative construction of subprime housing, for example, show up in the data, and then of course it will all go away once we start computing the measures that are available for that.